6th year with Finn. I'm getting married, I said. He jolted, snapping out of his daze, looking troubled. Ella, you know this is a critical time for the company's funding. I just don't have the headspace right now. It's fine. My smile was flat. Finn misunderstood. I was getting married, just not to him. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I glanced at the direction Finn had been staring at so intently, a bitter laugh tugging at my lips. Once, he'd looked at me that way, like I was the only thing that mattered. For years of college, he chased me for 3. When I asked what he liked about me, he grinned like a fool and said, "Your smile. No one else's comes close." I never liked fools, but later, I was touched by the sincerity beneath his awkwardness. Still, I didn't give in easily. But Finn didn't mind. Every day, rain or shine, he'd leave breakfast outside my dorm. He'd remember my cycle and start making me honey ginger tea 2 days early. If I so much as glanced at a necklace, he'd squeeze in part-time jobs to save up and buy it for me. When I was upset, he'd rack his brain telling jokes to cheer me up. Even if I frowned, he'd rush to ask if I felt unwell. But in the end, nothing beats childhood sweethearts. 2 months ago, his childhood friend Lila suddenly came to visit him in King City. From the first meeting, I noticed how little boundaries Finn and Lila had. But I figured she'd only stay a few days, so I didn't think much of it. Never in a million years did I expect she'd become Finn's personal assistant and settle down in King City. When I asked about it, Finn just said, "We were hiring anyway, might as well give the spot to someone I trust." But after that, his business trips and overtime hours multiplied. Staying out all night became common. 2 days ago, I checked the attendance records in HR and found out they'd been inseparable all along. Every business trip was just the 2 of them, alone. Yet the expense reports sum it to finance only had charges for 1 executive suite. And don't even get me started on the overtime. As I walked out of Finn's office, Lila stood up from her desk by the door. Smiling brightly, she said, "Ella, you look a bit off. Did you and Finn have a fight?" I had no energy to deal with her and tried to walk past. "Ella," she called out, "you'll be 30 next year, right? Stop acting like a spoiled kid." Finn's already stressed enough with Rida Investments dragging their feet on the funding. Even if you can't help him, don't distract him at a time like this. I frowned slightly, looking at her calmly. Lila, Finn and I built this company together. If he can hire you, I can fire you. You. She looked stunned, not expecting my toughness. Blinking back fake tears, she said, "I was just trying to help. If you don't want to hear the truth, that's fine. Why do you have to kick me out?" "Who dares to kick you out?" Finn walked out, his tone cold. "Ella, she's just a girl new in town. Can't you be more tolerant if she said something wrong?" "A girl." I almost laughed. Lila was only 3 months younger than me. A sharp ache stabbed at my chest. I took a deep breath. "Finn, I'll give you a choice. Either she goes, or I do." Finn sighed. "Ella, stop being unreasonable." I froze. For a moment, I couldn't remember the last time he'd called me by my full name. "Ella, you must be misunderstanding Finn and me," Lila said, her eyes red as she looked at Finn pitifully. "We're just childhood friends who grew up together." She turned to Finn. "I heard Ella comes from a wealthy family, she must have been spoiled. You should let her have her way. Don't fight with her because of me. I've always had to watch people's faces. I can find another job. If leaving King City will make Ella happy, I'll pack my bags right now." "Lila." Finn didn't bother hiding the concern in his eyes. I pulled up my lips and walked away without looking back. Only when I stepped out of the office building did I realize my vision had blurred. I wiped my tears roughly and pulled out my phone. The call was answered quickly. My mom's voice came through, pretending to be annoyed. "Sweetie, finally remembered you have a mom? Do you know how many days it's been since you called?" 3 whole days. Mom. I held back my sobs. "Can you tell Grandpa I agree to the alliance marriage?" "Really?" My mom sounded delighted, then hesitated. "Wait, what about that boyfriend you've been with for years? We always wanted you to marry someone from an equal background, but if you're not happy, it's over." "Oh." Mom didn't press for details. "Think it over for a couple more days. Your grandpa handpicked him, they're our family friends, and he runs one of their investment firms now. But marriage is a big decision, honey. Don't act on impulse." "I'm not impulsive, Mom. I've thought it through. Yesterday, my brother accidentally let it slip. Our family's cash flow is on the verge of collapse. This marriage is the best solution. All these years, my family has indulged me. After college, Dad wanted me to go back to the capital to gain experience before taking over the family business. But I was so lovesick for Finn that I fought with Dad, insisting on staying in King City. Just because Dad said, "What can a poor guy like him give you?" I stayed by Finn's side through his startup, often drinking until the early hours for a single contract. Never did I think it wouldn't earn me Finn's loyalty. Only a stomach that now needs herbal medicine to heal. Mom sighed. When do you plan to come back to the capital? In half a month. After hanging up, I glanced back at the towering office building, a bitter smile on my lips. Finn, I gave you a choice. You didn't take it. So I won't take you either. Chapter 2. Back home, I sat on the sofa for a long time, staring into space. The cracks in my relationship with Finn had actually started to show. Last month. At first, I couldn't wrap my head around how feelings could change so suddenly. Every time I questioned his relationship with Lila, he'd say, "You're overthinking it. I only see her as a little sister, that's why I look out for her." At first, I truly believed him. Because his kindness to me had felt so real. I'd been certain he loved me. It wasn't until a friend's party, when he'd had too much to drink and I went to pick him up, that I accidentally heard the truth from his equally drunk friend. Finn and Lila. They grew up together. Before Finn chased you, he confessed to her, but she turned him down. Childhood friendship like that, you don't just get over it overnight. He chased you because your smile reminds him of Lila. But don't worry, we're all telling him to stay loyal to you. Lila probably rejected him back then because he was poor. Now that he's successful, she's come crawling back. Beep beep beep, the sound of the health pot finishing the herbal medicine jolted me back to reality. I drank the brown liquid in one gulp, the bitterness searing my throat. Looking around the home I'd carefully decorated, I marked a bold line on the calendar. 14 days left. Then I started packing, sorting through everything. King City and the capital are on opposite ends of the country. I can only take so much with me. The rest, I'll throw away. I hate the thought of someone else touching my things, especially Finn's next girlfriend. After making 2 trips to the dumpster, I was exhausted and had to leave the rest for later. After a shower, I scrolled through social media and saw Lila's post, CEO by day, lining up for my cake at night. He said he wants to make up for all the time we missed. So happy. The photo showed a strawberry cake, and on her hand holding the cake was a men's watch, loosely slung, not hers. It was a couple's watch, matching the one on my wrist. I'd stayed up with Finn for weeks to finish the company's first big project, which had put us on the map. Even though we'd barely slept that week, he was so excited he'd dragged me to the mall and bought the exact watch set I'd been eyeing. I protested, saying it was too expensive. But he insisted, putting it on my wrist before pulling me into his arms. "Ella, anything you love, I want to be the one to give it to you." He never took that watch off, except to shower or sleep. His previous assistant had been fired for accidentally getting it wet. Everyone knew Finn loved me. Now it all feels like a joke. No one knew that every time he looked at me with that affection, he was thinking of someone else. I let out a deep breath, unbuckled the watch, took a couple of photos, and listed it on a second-hand app. Finn didn't come home again that night. The next day, I slept until noon before heading to the company to hand in my resignation. Once the company had stabilized, I'd only been in charge of the design department. To my surprise, as I walked from the design department to HR, several people congratulated me. Confused, I was pulled into the HR office by Linda, a longtime colleague. "Spill it, are you and Finn finally getting married?" "What?" I blinked. Linda was one of the company's founding members, so she spoke to me casually. "Don't play dumb. With the way Finn's been acting, everyone knows he's going to propose." I frowned. "That's not what's going on here." She covered her mouth. "You really don't know? Could it be Finn's planning a surprise?" "Explain." "Well." She hesitated, then decided to confide in me. "Someone saw a flower shop deliver a whole trunk full of pink roses to Finn downstairs. It's not your birthday or any anniversary, what else could it be but a proposal?" Pink roses. I remembered, 2 months ago, when Lila first came to King City, Finn had picked her up from the airport with pink roses. My fingers traced the palm of my hand silently. I bit my lip and said nothing. Linda glanced at my hand. "What's this?" "I'm here to resign." "Ah." She nodded, suddenly understanding. "So it is a proposal. You're quitting to be a housewife. Let me sign this for you." "Thanks." I didn't explain, just handed her the paperwork. As she signed, she complained. "Finn should have told me earlier. Now I have to scramble to find a new design director as good as you. Just have Finn sign off on it too." After signing, she handed it back, smiling sincerely. "Ella, I don't know if quitting to start a family is the right choice, but as a friend for all these years, I wish you happiness. I hope Finn doesn't let you down. I will be happy. Just not with Finn. Chapter 3. Before walking into Finn's office, I hesitated for a moment. Not because I was unsure, but because I hadn't decided how to get him to sign quickly. Now that the company had formal HR policies, even I had signed an employment contract. Plus, as design director, my position was sensitive, and my family's business was somewhat related to this industry. If I didn't handle the resignation properly, it would cause trouble once I was back in the capital. I pushed the door open, but before I could say the prepared words, I saw Lila sitting across from Finn. No wonder her desk outside was empty. She'd already moved in here. Lila saw me first. She patted Finn's head affectionately and said in a coquettish voice, "Finn." Finn's voice was tender. "Alright, stop messing around. Let me finish going through this contract first." "I'm not messing around." Lila gave me a provocative look, then said sweetly, "Ella's here." Finn jumped back, pulling away from her, and looked up at me, his eyes meeting mine. Ignoring the tightness in my chest, I said flatly, "Finn, I need you to sign something." I handed him the folder. Relieved that I didn't seem to care about his intimate moment with Lila, he nodded. "Sure. Finn, I'll leave you two to it." Lila stood up to leave. As Finn opened the folder, I was about to give my prepared excuse when Lila suddenly twisted her ankle and cried out, it hurts." "Lila." Finn lost all interest in work, jumping up and rushing toward her. I blocked him. "Sign first, it won't take 2 seconds." He frowned. "Ella, when did you become so cold-hearted? Is this document really that important?" "Finn." Lila squatted on the floor, sobbing as she held her ankle. Finn's eyes were fixed on her. Unwilling to argue with me, he signed the document without even looking at it, right where I pointed. Perfect. I just wanted to finish the resignation and leave this city. Return to my original life. Finn carried Lila to the sofa, holding her ankle gently to check. "It's not swollen, but if it hurts badly, I'll take you to the hospital. It's not that serious." Lila pulled her ankle back shyly, glancing at me nervously. I left without a word. Before getting in the car, Finn chased after me. "Ella, don't misunderstand. There's nothing between Lila and me. I just look out for her because we grew up together." "Okay." I nodded lightly, looking at his hand on the car door, signaling him to let go. "I have things to do." He paused. "You're not mad?" I smiled. "Should I be? Before, you would have been upset if I did this. But you did it anyway, didn't you?" I looked up, seeing the panic clearly in his eyes. "Just kidding. Come home for dinner tonight?" He pushed down his guilt, taking my hand. "I have a business dinner, but I'll definitely be home." I wanted to laugh, but couldn't. Since when did his coming home feel like a favor? I ate dinner outside before going back to continue packing. It was only then that I realized, when disappointment runs deep enough, you don't want to leave even the smallest trace behind. I carefully erased all evidence of my existence in this home. I even went through Finn's room, but only threw away the couple's items I'd bought: toothbrushes, mugs, slippers, loungewear. I took a break halfway through and saw a WeChat message from Lila. "Ella, look. After all these years, Finn still remembers I love pink roses. He's even more thoughtful than before. Thank you for raising such a wonderful man for me. It's nice to sit under a tree someone else planted." She also sent a photo. The Porsche I'd picked out, its trunk filled with flowers and decorated with fairy lights. In that moment, I knew for sure. All the sincerity I'd thought I had over the years had actually belonged to someone else. Chapter 4. Finn broke his promise. He didn't come home. For days, he didn't step foot in the house. I found out from Linda when she called, Finn had gone on another business trip. Again, with Lila. But this gave me more time to pack. Only 7 days left on the calendar. I was packing my luggage for the capital when Linda suddenly called. "Ella, did you put the wrong address on your package?" "What?" "Your wedding dress. It was delivered to the company, addressed to you." Finn really splurged, and custom wedding dress must cost at least $1 million. Did he spend all his savings? Is he not planning on living after marriage? I rushed to the company and opened the box, stunned. The size was definitely mine. But it didn't seem like Finn's style. The company had been doing well these past few years, but not well enough to spend this much on a wedding dress. Besides, I doubted he'd ever really planned to marry me. I was still confused when my mom called. "Sweetie, did you get the wedding dress? The Quins are so excited about your wedding to Ethan. I told them you'd be back in half a month, and they immediately started planning. They even sent the dress early so you can try it on and see if you like it." Mom sounded thrilled on the phone, clearly pleased with how much the Quins valued me. I rubbed my forehead. Mom, did you give them the address? Of course. Did you switch companies? No. I sighed. I'll send you a new address. Send anything else there from now on. Will do. Mom agreed happily. Oh, your Aunt Clara asked me to check. Do you have any special requests for the wedding? She'll take care of it. I don't have any requests. I bit my lip. You and Aunt Clara can handle it. Wedding? Finn's voice suddenly came from behind me. What wedding? My heart skipped a beat. I hung up the phone. You're back from the trip? Yeah. He avoided my eyes guiltily, glancing at the wedding dress on the sofa and frowning. Ella, I told you I don't have time for marriage right now. Can't you stop pushing me? I looked at him steadily. Did I say you were the groom? What are you talking about? Nothing. I shrugged, walking over to repack the dress, ready to leave. Finn grabbed my arm, his voice softening. Are you mad? I'm sorry, I've just been exhausted from the trip. Forgive me? Sure. I nodded without hesitation. He looked uncertain. Really? Really? Then can we keep the dress for now? Finn hesitated. Ella, just give me a little more time. I will marry you. As if afraid I'd force him into it. I couldn't help but laugh. Where do you get these ideas? Didn't you hear my call? It's for my college roommate's wedding. She put the wrong address. He let out a long breath, pinching my cheek. You were trying to scare me, weren't you? Whatever you think. Finn knew all three of my college roommates. If he'd cared even a little, he would have remembered they were all already married. He'd accompanied me to every single one of their weddings. Back then, he'd talked endlessly about our future, getting emotional every time we attended someone else's wedding. We'd agreed, once the company was stable, we'd get married. But 3 years had passed. He never mentioned it. For a while, I'd even wondered if he had pre-wedding jitters. Now I understood. It wasn't that he didn't want to get married. He just didn't want to marry me. Linda knocked on the door, looking like she'd just witnessed something sickeningly sweet. I hate to interrupt, but Finn, you need to be there for the design director interview later. Design director? Finn looked confused, turning to me. Are you too busy and need someone to help you? No. I shook my head. Finn, I resigned. He frowned deeply. You resigned? Why didn't you discuss this with me? Ella, this is a critical time for the company's funding. The design department is the core. Do you know how much replacing the director will affect the funding? I suddenly felt like I'd never really known him. I raised my eyes. What do you want me to do then? Your resignation isn't official without my signature. Finn sighed. You're not a kid anymore. Don't do something so childish. Come back to work tomorrow. Finn, I smiled softly. You already signed it. If you don't believe me, Linda has a copy. You can check. With that, I picked up the wedding dress and left. Chapter 5 Ella, no matter how desperate you are to get married, you shouldn't resort to forcing him. Do you really think buying a wedding dress will make Finn marry you? He promised to marry only me a long time ago. Don't be delusional. I stared at Lila's WeChat messages as I drove, feeling exhausted. I drove around King City for hours until the late autumn night air chilled me to the bone, then finally went home. To my surprise, the lights were on when I opened the door. Finn was sitting on the sofa, standing up as I walked in. Why did you take so long? I went for a drive. I was leaving soon. I wanted to see more of the city I'd lived in for so many years. He nodded, trying to pull me into his arms, but I stepped back instinctively. He frowned slightly. Still mad? I was too harsh earlier. If you don't want to work, that's fine. Your happiness is what matters most. Hearing this, a hint of irony crossed my eyes, but I didn't want trouble. Okay. Your birthday is in a few days, any plans? I'd checked the calendar before leaving. The day before I planned to leave was his birthday. And our anniversary. Of course I want to spend it with you, just the two of us. Finn reached out carefully, and when I didn't pull away, he seemed to relax, pulling me into his arms. His voice was muffled. Ella, I can't help but feel like something's changed with you lately. You're overthinking it. I pulled away slowly. I'm cold, I'm going to take a shower. Once, he would have noticed I was freezing. I wondered who had really changed. By the way, where are my toothbrush and cup? Finn suddenly asked from behind me. I lowered my eyes. There was so much more missing from this house than just those two things. But his mind was elsewhere. It was no surprise he hadn't noticed. I explained casually. You should replace toiletries regularly. There are new ones in your bathroom cabinet. I went to my room to shower. My phone kept ringing on the bed. When I came out, I saw it was Lila again. I hadn't bothered replying to her provocative messages earlier. but she clearly wasn't going to let it go. She'd sent message after message. When I still didn't respond, she sent several screenshots of her chat with Finn. Some weren't even from the past 2 months. 1 year ago, 2 years ago. Most of the messages were Finn's one-sided confessions. Lila, I took your advice and started dating someone. She's great, her smile is just like yours. Lila, every time I'm with her, it feels like we're back to being inseparable. Lila, how have you been lately? I dreamed of you last night. I miss you. Lila, I might be getting married. I can't let her down. She's been through so much with me these years. I wouldn't be where I am now, with a car, a house in King City, without her. After that message, Lila had suddenly started replying. Once she found out he owned 2 apartments in downtown King City, including a penthouse under renovation, the two had quickly fallen in love, sharing their daily lives nonstop. The porridge I'd woken up early to make him after he'd drunk too much at a business dinner? He'd taken a photo and sent it to Lila. Having porridge for breakfast. What about you? The lemon tree I'd grown that finally bore fruit? He'd shared it with Lila first. Look how amazing this is. When they're bigger, I'll bring the largest one to the office for you to make tea. My hands trembled as I held the phone. Knowing I'd been a replacement was one thing. Seeing these messages, proof of it, was something else entirely. Even though I'd just taken a hot shower, I felt icy to the core. I couldn't help but laugh, and before I knew it, my eyes were red. Not because I was sad about being betrayed, but because I, Ella, had really been a replacement for all these years. Every sweet moment I'd cherished had been shared with someone else. I held back my tears and replied, missing mom? Watch a movie. Missing dad? Stare at the sky. She replied instantly, Ella, don't be ungrateful. Even if you don't leave, Finn will only marry me. I know the company is about to go public and you don't want to let go. For the sake of all the hard work you put into the startup, be sensible. I'll let him give you 100 grand as a breakup fee. After all, you'll never find someone as rich as Finn again. 100 grand. I wondered if that was even enough for one table at the Quinn's wedding banquet. I'd just finished reading the message when the door suddenly opened. Ella, why did you list the watch I gave you on a second-hand app? Chapter 6. Finn stood in the doorway, holding his phone and accusing me. I glanced at it, it was indeed my listing. I'd priced it low and sold it the same day I posted it. I smiled, making up an excuse. It's not mine. Linda and her husband have the same couple set. She wants a new one now, so she asked me to sell it for her. Really? He looked skeptical, but tenderness appeared in his eyes. Ella, I've been so busy lately. I might not have paid enough attention to your feelings. If something's bothering you, you must tell me, okay? I lowered my eyes. Okay. After my mom passed away last year, you're all I have left. Finn held me like I was a treasure, his voice a mix of promise and guilt. Believe me, no matter what happens, you're the most important person to me. I did believe him. Once, I'd believed him without a doubt. I smelled the faint scent of roses on him. It's getting late. You should shower and rest. Just a little longer. He wouldn't let go, resting his chin on top of my head. Ella, are you keeping something from me? After I finish this busy period, we need to talk. I smiled. Busy lining up for Lila's cake? Or preparing a car full of roses as a surprise? Trying to keep me in the dark while keeping Lila happy, he was definitely busy. He looked down at me, his voice soft. Why are your eyes red? Have you been crying? I was about to answer when his phone suddenly rang. He glanced at the caller ID, then pulled away from me, answering it as he walked out. Whatever the person on the other end said, his expression changed drastically. The late autumn wind was bitter, but he didn't even grab his coat, running out in just his thin shirt. Out of habit, I instinctively called out, Finn. He didn't look back. The last time I'd seen him this panicked was when the hospital had given his mom a critical condition notice. I walked to the window, watching the black Porsche disappear into the night. I could still hear his words echoing in my ears, Ella, you're the most important person to me. But it didn't matter anymore. I was busy over the next few days. Before leaving, I wanted to see all my friends one last time. That night, I picked up a marker, hesitated for a moment, then crossed off another day on the calendar. Tomorrow was Finn's birthday. And my last day in this city. After ordering a birthday cake for Finn, I cut up all the couple's photos on the wall and threw them in the trash. Every trace of me was now gone from this house. I hadn't taken my herbal medicine on time the past few days, and the next morning, I was woken up by a sharp stomachache. In the early days of the startup, it had just been Finn and me. When we were busy, we'd eaten and slept at the office. To prove my dad wrong about Finn, I hadn't taken a penny from home after graduation. When funds were tight, we'd even shared a pack of instant noodles to save money. At night, we'd go to business dinners. Finn couldn't hold his liquor, so I'd drunk most of it for him. Once, I'd gotten a stomach perforation from drinking too much. The doctor had chewed Finn out, and he'd sat by my hospital bed, his eyes red. For a tall man, he'd looked so vulnerable. He'd said I'd suffered too much because of him. He'd said Finn, would never let Ella down. I finally understood. Promises are never true, even in the moment they're spoken. I rubbed my stomach and got up, eating a piece of toast before taking a stomach pill. But the medicine didn't work quickly. The pain got worse, and I curled up on the sofa, cold sweat soaking through my clothes. I took out my phone and called Finn. No answer. It seemed Finn was too busy. Too busy to answer his girlfriend's call. I found out from Linda's call that he'd been busy for days. Too busy to even go to the company. Piles of documents and half-finished projects were waiting for his signature. Linda was frantic. Ella, he's got it bad for Lila, but don't tell me you're also love-struck? You can't just abandon the company because you're busy planning a wedding. Talk some sense into him, tell him to get back to work. Also, I heard director Ethan of Rida Investments is having a wedding next week. Finn needs to get an invitation somehow. Going to the capital to schmooze with Ethan could seal the deal for our IPO. Wait. I'd been distracted by the stomachache, but those last words jolted me awake. What did you say the Rida Investments guy's name is? Ethan Quinn. Chapter 7. Linda sighed. He's a total trust fund baby. Our IPO depends on Rida's approval, but I heard Rida Investments is just a toy for the Quinn family to let him practice with. The capital. The Quinns. Ethan Quinn. Investment firm. It all lined up. Linda noticed I wasn't responding. Ella? Are you listening? Why yes. I bit my lip. I'll pass your message on to Finn. Linda sounded relieved. Good. By the way, have you set a date for the wedding? I want a paper invitation, no cheapy invites. I laughed. The date is next week, and don't worry about the invitation. A family like the Quinns, they'd send paper invitations to all their guests. When my mom had called a few days ago to ask which friends I wanted to invite, I'd mentioned Linda's name. The rest would be taken care of by the Quinns. After hanging up, I endured the pain and sent Finn a message. No response. I tried calling him again. I didn't think he'd answer, but he did. His voice sounded cold on the other end. Why do you keep calling? What's wrong? So he had seen my previous call. I rubbed my stomach. What are you busy with? Linda said you haven't been to the company in days. He sounded mocking. You really don't know what I'm busy with? How would I know? At that, he scoffed, lowering his voice and accusing angrily. Why did you send someone to throw paint on Lila's door? Do you know how scared she is? She can't handle things like this. Ella, when did you become so vicious? Vicious. The pain was unbearable, whether from my stomach or my heart. Lila told you I did it? And you believed her? She's never lied to me. He sounded righteous. Can you handle the company stuff for me? She's too scared to be alone right now. I drank some warm water. I have a stomachache. I can't go. Finn knew about my chronic health issues from all those years. When we were at home, he'd always remind me to eat regularly and take my medicine on time. I didn't know when he'd stopped coming home. Ella, he sounded impatient, as if he'd had enough. Your stomachaches are an old problem. Can't you just tough it out? I already told you, I'd handle it myself if Lila didn't need me right now. Forget it. I'll figure something out. He was about to hang up when I stopped him. Are you coming home tonight? Ella, do you really have to be so unreasonable when Lila needs me the most? I froze. I thought I didn't care anymore. But hearing those words felt like something sharp stabbing my chest. Even breathing hurt. Today's your birthday. And our 6th anniversary. I rubbed my stomach gently. Finn, you promised we'd spend every anniversary together. We needed to break up in person. Otherwise, all those years we'd spent together would feel worthless. Finn hesitated, sounding guilty. I almost forgot. Ella, I'll be right home. I'll pick up your favorite pastries on the way. Before I could respond, I heard Lila scream from the other end. Finn didn't even bother hanging up, comforting her softly. Don't be scared. I'm here. I won't go anywhere. I hung up the phone, staring at the empty house, and suddenly laughed. The clock ticked on. Night fell. The only person who had knocked on the door was the food delivery guy. Finn wasn't coming home. At 3 in the morning, my phone rang. It was a message from Finn. Ella, Lila keeps having nightmares. Don't worry, I'll definitely be home before dawn. Wait for me. I stared at the screen, sitting there for a moment before throwing the takeout and cake on the table into the trash. I took a shower. Then I sent Finn a WeChat message. Blocked him. Deleted him. Picked up my 2 already packed suitcases and left without looking back, hailing a taxi to the airport. Finn, this time, I can't wait for you anymore. My things, and me, we're leaving his city for good today. A city that never really belonged to me. Chapter 8. Finn received the message just after comforting his childhood sweetheart to sleep. Dawn was breaking. His first reaction when he heard his phone ping was to frown, afraid it would wake Lila. But when he saw the contact name, he carefully picked up the phone. Finn, let's break up. Finn's brows furrowed deeper. He was about to rub his nose when Lila grabbed his hand tightly. Lila mumbled in her sleep. Finn. The irritation on Finn's face was replaced by indulgence. He patted Lila's hand gently, whispering, "It's okay. I'm just going to the living room to take a work call. Sleep well." Once Lila fell back asleep, he slowly pulled his hand away. He walked to the balcony and called Ella immediately. But there was no ringtone, just a simple message on the screen: "You are not friends with this user, so you cannot make voice calls." His heart dropped. A sense of panic spread through him. He felt like he was about to lose something incredibly important. Before he could think more, he rushed toward the door. Finn. He was almost at the entrance when Lila's weak voice stopped him. Turning around, he saw her standing there, her face pale. "Where are you going? Are you leaving me too?" Finn and Lila had been true childhood sweethearts. They'd lived across the street from each other. They'd even held hands walking to elementary school. But Lila's biological father had left when she was young. Her stepfather was a terrible man, drunk, a gambler, and worse. In middle school, Lila had almost been molested by him. It was Finn, who lived nearby, who'd heard her desperate screams and kicked the door down to save her. Since then, Lila had been extremely dependent on him. Just like she was now. Finn's heart softened. The urgent feeling he'd had earlier faded. He smiled. "Of course not. Why are you up? Don't you want to sleep more?" "I can't sleep without you." Lila bit her lip, looking at him carefully. "You don't look well. Did something happen? Is Ella upset because you're taking care of me?" "It's nothing. I heard you arguing with her on the phone last night." "Finn, don't let me come between you two." Lila lowered her eyes. "Maybe I should leave. I'll go to the company and resign in a few days." She'd always been like this. Thoughtful. Considerate. Finn suddenly felt a surge of irritation at Ella. Spoiled girls like her were always jealous and unthoughtful. He ruffled Lila's hair gently. "Don't be silly. Let her throw a tantrum. She's got a bad temper, but she doesn't mean any harm. I'll go talk to her." "Finn." Lila looked up at him, hesitating. "Does Ella always throw fits like this?" "Not usually." Finn told the truth. "She's probably upset because I haven't been paying enough attention to her lately." Lila sighed. "I shouldn't say this, but you shouldn't spoil her so much. Relationships are about mutual understanding. You're already so busy with work. Even if she can't help you, she shouldn't make things harder for you at a time like this." "If only." Lila's cheeks turned pink. "If only I'd said yes when you confessed to me back then. If you were my boyfriend, I'd be the sweetest, most thoughtful girlfriend in the world." Finn fell into a daze. Over the past 2 months since Lila had come to King City, he'd thought the same thing. He'd wavered. But he knew. These were just his secret, guilty thoughts. He could stray emotionally. But his girlfriend, his wife, could only be Ella. Ella couldn't live without him. And he couldn't live without Ella either. Personally or professionally. All the company's long-term, stable clients were people Ella had won over with her hard work, drinking countless toasts at business dinners during the startup phase. They only trusted her. Even if she resigned, as long as she was still those partnerships would hold. Lila noticed he wasn't responding. Digging her nails into her palm. "Finn? What are you thinking about?" "And nothing." Finn snapped out of it. "Just figuring out how to apologize to Ella." Lila's palms were almost bleeding. But on the surface, she looked sweet and innocent. "That's up to you. I read online that relationships are all about power dynamics. If you want her to walk all over you for the rest of your life, go beg for her forgiveness. But if you want to be the one in charge at home, maybe you should give her the silent treatment this time. After all, you're about to be the CEO of a public company. People will laugh if they find out you're whipped by your wife. If Ella can't even give you that much respect." She trailed off, looking hesitant. Finn frowned. "What?" Gathering her courage to defend him, Lila said angrily. "Then she doesn't deserve your love." She muttered softly. Your mom wouldn't want you to be so humiliated either. Finn listened, and it made sense. But thinking about Ella's personality, he hesitated. Ella only stays with me because I treat her well. If I ignore her, what if she really breaks up with me? Impossible, Lila said firmly. If she loves you, she won't be able to bear losing you. And she did love him. Thinking that, Finn felt reassured. He'd give her the silent treatment first. If that didn't work, he'd apologize. After all, Ella had always been easy to persuade. Chapter 9. I never expected that when the plane landed in the capital, the person waiting for me would be none other than Ethan Quinn. The man I would spend the rest of my life with. A famous figure in the finance world, he'd been on countless interviews. With his striking good looks, it was hard to forget his face. He stood beside his car in a black cashmere coat, tall and straight, his demeanor was gentle yet sharp, with an undeniable air of authority. Before I could react, he walked over, taking my suitcase from me. His voice was deep and clear. You didn't bring much? No, not really. A cold wind blew, and I shivered, explaining instinctively. I left a lot of unnecessary things behind. People and objects alike, sometimes you just need to let go. Ethan nodded, handing the suitcase to his driver and opening the back door for me. Let's go. I'll take you home first. Thank you. I got in the car. The warm air inside gradually chased away the chill. Glancing at the man beside me, I felt an unexpected sense of calm. Relaxing, sleepiness washed over me. Why did you finally decide to come back to the capital? Half asleep, the man suddenly asked. I was too tired to open my eyes. I just felt like it. A soft laugh came from beside me, part mockery, part amusement. I couldn't tell which was stronger. As I drifted off, the name Ethan Quinn kept repeating in my mind. It felt familiar somehow, like I'd heard it before. When I woke up, my head was resting on Ethan's shoulder, and his black cashmere coat had a faint damp spot. I jolted awake, looking at him awkwardly. Sorry. He didn't seem to mind, his dark eyes looking at me calmly. We're home. Oh, that was fast. I looked out the window and realized the car had already stopped outside the family mansion. Ethan tapped on the car window. The driver nodded, starting the car and driving into the courtyard. My mom heard the noise and rushed out. When she saw me, she smiled brightly. Ethan said he had business near the airport and could pick you up. I didn't want to be a third wheel, so I stayed home. Mom. I rubbed my nose. Let's go inside. It's cold out here. Right, right. My mom gestured for Ethan to come in too. Ethan, come in and have some tea. Your uncle brought back some top-quality gingemai yesterday. Ethan was polite but firm. Thank you, Mrs. Carter, but I have other matters to attend to. I'll leave you and Ella to talk. Hearing him call me Ella felt surprisingly natural, like he'd always called me that. My mom did. And insist, just giving him the tea to take home to his father. He accepted it graciously. After he left, my mom gave me a playful look. What took you so long? Didn't you say the plane would land at 9:30? It's already 1 p.m. I couldn't blame her for wondering. The airport was only a 40-minute drive from home. But Ethan had waited for me in the car for 2 hours. Yet when I woke up, he hadn't mentioned a word about it. I suddenly thought of Finn. If he'd done something like that for me, he would have made sure I knew. Ella, I took 2 buses to buy your favorite pastries. Hurry and try them. Ella, I didn't want to wake you, so I waited downstairs for half an hour. Lucky the breakfast is still warm. But even that kindness had been because I was a replacement. Thinking about it, I laughed bitterly. My mom handed me a cup of hot tea. What are you laughing at? I'm asking you a question. We landed a long time ago. I told her the truth. But I fell asleep in the car, and Ethan didn't wake me. My mom looked surprised. That boy is just like his father, so rigid on the surface, but actually very thoughtful. After she finished speaking, my mom went to the kitchen and cooked 3 dishes and a soup, all my favorites. Once I'd eaten my fill, she finally asked gently, what really happened between you and that boy in King City? Your dad was going to wait for you at home, but I told him to go to the company. I didn't want him to make you feel uncomfortable talking about it. Now it's just us girls. You have to tell me the truth. Did he do something to hurt you? Originally, I hadn't felt that bad. Not really heartbroken. Not the kind of gut-wrenching pain you see in dramas. Just like I'd wasted my time on someone who didn't appreciate it. A dog that couldn't be tamed. But it didn't matter. The world kept turning, with or without him. But when my mom asked, my eyes suddenly blurred. I kept eating, shaking my head. No. Ella, I'm You are mother. My mom poured me a drink. I know when something's wrong. You can't hide it from me. I sighed. We broke up. He cheated on you with someone else? Chapter 10. I'd never realized my mom could be so straightforward. I froze. Why would you say that? You've always been the type to stick to something once you start. If he hadn't cheated, would you really have given up on him? My eyes felt sore, but my mom's words made me laugh through my tears. So you've always thought I made the wrong choice? Not exactly. My mom picked up a piece of sweet and sour pork rib for me. Life doesn't have a right or wrong answer. Who knows what good might come from a mistake you make today? Mom supports all your decisions. This family will always be your safe haven. I couldn't hold back my tears anymore, they streamed down my face. My mom hugged me, patting my back gently. It's okay, don't be sad. Your dad already said, if that boy hurt you, his company won't get to go public. My crying stopped abruptly. I looked at her in confusion. What do you mean? We asked around. That boy's company is preparing for an IPO and funding. My mom smiled meaningfully. This is the most vulnerable time for a company. One wrong move, and they could lose everything. Someone with his character doesn't deserve to run a public company. Mom, you can't do that. Ella, why are you still defending him at a time like this? It's not that. I felt frustrated. I'm one of the founders. I still have shares in that company. If it went public successfully, I could sell my shares and finally have closure. After talking to her for a long time, my mom finally relented. Then she changed the subject. Rest well these next 2 days. You'll be busy soon. Busy with what? Your wedding with Ethan. My mom pinched my cheek. The wedding is next week, but you're the bride, there are still a lot of things you need to confirm. Oh, and the invitations have already been sent out. Make sure to ask your friends if they've received theirs. Okay. I nodded. I hadn't slept all night, and the 2 hours I'd napped in the car weren't enough. Full and warm, I went upstairs to my room to rest. Back in my childhood bedroom, I finally felt completely relaxed. After a shower, I collapsed onto the bed, ready to sleep. But my phone suddenly rang. It was Linda. As soon as I answered, she said excitedly, Ella, where did you get these invitations printed? The packaging is so exquisite, they must have cost a fortune. But how did they get the groom's name wrong? I lay on the bed, getting comfortable and looking at the winter sun outside the window. The groom's name is Ethan Quinn, right? Yeah. Linda breathed a sigh of relief. Did Finn get so obsessed with getting an invitation to Ethan's wedding that he mixed up the names and sent Ethan's name to the wedding planner? No. The sun was warm on my face, making me squint. It's supposed to be Ethan Quinn. She fell silent for a moment. What do you mean? The wedding next week, Ethan Quinn is my groom. After I said it, I instinctively pulled the phone away from my ear. But I could still hear Linda's shocked scream. What? Ella, did I hear that right? I thought you and Finn were getting married. Her voice trailed off. Even as an outsider, she'd probably noticed that Finn hadn't really wanted to marry me. I walked barefoot to the window, drawing the curtains. No, you heard me right. I broke up with Finn. I've already left King City and gone back to the capital. The person Ethan Quinn is marrying is me. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Finally, Linda spoke hesitantly. Is this Ethan Quinn the same Ethan Quinn we were talking about earlier? The very same. I answered before she could finish. It really was a small world. Linda sighed. So you and Finn just broke up like that? No hesitation? Yeah, we broke up. I am Ag. And Finn was probably relieved. Finally free to be with his childhood sweetheart without any guilt. Linda sighed again. All those years you spent with Finn, do you regret it? I did, but not anymore. No one wants to be a replacement. But after hearing what my mom said at dinner, I suddenly understood. For some reason, my mind drifted to the moment I'd first seen Ethan at the airport that morning. The turmoil in my heart had calmed. I smiled. And I know the path I'm on now is the right one. Whether it was for the alliance or the family friendship. Ethan and I both knew what this marriage meant. Neither of us would mess it up. Or dare to. Linda sounded relieved. Ella, no matter what you choose, I just want you to be happy. I will be. I suddenly remembered something. By the way, I haven't seen Finn in days, and I left in a hurry today. There's something I need to ask you to do. Anything. Just say the word. Linda agreed without hesitation. If I can help, I will. I gave Finn a jade pendant. Could you ask him for it when you get a chance? I'd only remembered the pendant after I got home. It was a family tradition. For our 18th birthday, the elders gave each of us 2 jade pendants that fit together. One to keep for ourselves. The other to give to our future spouse. I'd once naively thought that Finn and I would be together forever. Now that it was over, it didn't feel right for him to keep it. After hearing the story, Linda agreed immediately. No problem. I'll bring it to you when I come to your wedding next week. Chapter 11. The next day was Saturday. As soon as Linda woke up, she called Finn. Finn had been annoyed by her constant calls about work lately. It's the weekend. Can't we wait until Monday for any documents that need signing? Linda got straight to the point. Where are you? There was a long silence on the other end. Linda couldn't help but ask. Still with Lila? Do you really not care about all the years you spent with Ella? Linda, you're usually so sensible. Why are you being as unreasonable as Ella now? Finn said. Our relationship is fine. You don't need to worry. Hearing this, Linda laughed. Fine? Are you sure? Do you even know where she is now? There was anger in her voice. She was sticking up for Ella. Everyone who knew them knew how much Ella had sacrificed for Finn over the years. And now that he was successful, he was abandoning her for someone else. Finn also got angry. Did she tell you we had a fight? A fight? Linda couldn't believe it. Ella had run thousands of miles away to marry someone else. And Finn still thought it was just a regular fight, content to stay with his childhood sweetheart. Finn laughed. What else? Did she really break up with me? Linda wanted to call him an idiot, but she held back. I'll be downstairs at Lila's place in half an hour. Can you come down for a minute? With that, she hung up the phone. Finn stared at his black screen, confused. He assumed it must be something urgent at the company. Half an hour later, after comforting Lila, he went downstairs as promised. A red car pulled up in front of him. Linda got out, holding out her hand. The jade pendant Ella gave you, give it to me. Finn didn't move. Why? Ella said it's something her family told her to give to her future spouse. Linda repeated Ella's words exactly. Now that you've broken up, it's not right for you to keep it. Finn's heart sank. Broken up? I never agreed. Who does she think she is to break up with me? Linda, for the sake of our friendship all these years, I won't say anything rude. Linda looked at him. But I'll give you some advice, be decent. You're the one who did something terrible. Do the right thing and let her go. Terrible? Otherwise? Linda snapped. Do you really think your little childhood sweetheart act with Lila is pure and innocent? Does the whole company not see what's going on between you two? Going on business trips alone together, coming back with a receipt for only one hotel room, you're adults. Don't tell me you were playing hide and seek in that room. Only one hotel room? Finn froze. Linda didn't want to hear his excuses. After all, Ella didn't care anymore. She just wanted to get the pendant back. Just give me the pendant. Tell Ella to come get it herself. Finn refused. He had a bad feeling. This time, Ella wasn't just throwing a tantrum like Lila had said. She really didn't want him anymore. If he gave the pendant back, he might lose her for good. Linda bit her lip. She can't come. Why not? Finn didn't believe it. Give me your phone. I'll call her. He thought Ella just needed an excuse to forgive him. If he offered it, they'd make up, just like they had after every other fight. Linda raised an eyebrow. Can't you call her yourself? She blocked me. Fine. I'll go home and talk to her myself. Finn couldn't wait any longer. Overwhelmed by an unprecedented sense of uncertainty, his heart felt like it was in his throat. Linda called out to him. Ella's not at home. Then where is she? A hotel? Linda. Linda sighed. You haven't been home in days, have you? Otherwise, he would have known Ella wasn't there, waiting for him like she had so many times before. Fear surged in Finn's chest. He couldn't help but shout. It's none of your business. I don't want to interfere. Linda had never seen him like this. I just want to remind you, whatever Ella does to you, you deserve it. With that, she got in her car and drove away. After she left, Finn finally came to his senses. He rushed back upstairs. Grabbing his car keys from the hallway, he was about to leave when Lila stopped him. Finn, where are you going? Let go. Finn pulled his hand away forcefully, running out without looking back, so flustered he didn't even wait for the elevator. He took the fire escape, tripping and falling halfway down the stairs. But he didn't care. He didn't care about anything. He got in his car and sped home. He had to see for himself, right now, that Ella was at home, that she was just mad at him, waiting for him to apologize. That was all. Chapter 12. The moment Finn burst into the house, instead of feeling relieved, his heart sank even further. The house was much emptier. Clean, like it was waiting for a new owner. Not a single trace of life left. The photo wall Ella had loved so much, there wasn't a single picture of her left. His heart felt like it had been torn out. He stumbled toward Ella's room. It was even emptier than the living room. Not a single strand of her hair remained. Clutching onto his last hope, he opened the closet, drawers, and bathroom cabinets. Finn suddenly realized he'd misunderstood Ella. Ella was considerate. So considerate that she hadn't left even the smallest trace of her existence when she left. He walked out in a daze. Passing the dining room, he finally found something Ella hadn't taken with her. A trash can full of food. And a cake. He knelt down slowly, seeing that all the dishes were his favorites. Opening the unopened cake, he saw the white chocolate plaque and burst into tears. Finn, I wish you happiness. Even after he'd treated her so horribly, Ella still wished him happiness. But what had he said to her in their last phone call? He'd called her vicious. Told her to tough out her stomachache. Accused her of being unreasonable for wanting him to come home on their anniversary. The last few times he'd called her name, he'd used her full name, cold and distant. Finn couldn't remember when he'd become this person. Or how disappointed Ella must have been to leave without a word. He should have noticed the signs. Ella had been preparing to leave all along. The couple's items that had suddenly disappeared from the house. The small decorations that had vanished overnight. And that couple's watch. Finn. Lila's voice sounded cautiously from the doorway. Finn froze, looking up. He quickly wiped his tears, his voice hoarse. What are you doing here? I saw how hurried you were. I was worried about you, so I followed. Lila looked around the house, walking over slowly, barely hiding her joy. Ella, left? No. Finn insisted. She's just mad. I'll apologize and she'll come back. Lila looked at him softly. Finn, maybe you and Ella aren't right for each other. Breaking up might be for the best. Shut up. Finn roared at her, something he'd never done before. She just misunderstood our relationship. I'll fix this. Lila jumped in fright. In the next second, she dug her nails into her palm. She wouldn't let anyone, especially Ella, stand in the way of her marrying Finn. But before she could say anything, Finn ran out again. As he drove to Linda's house, he called her repeatedly. Linda didn't answer. But he kept calling, relentlessly. By the time he parked outside her apartment building, Linda finally picked up. Where is she? Finn's voice was almost desperate. I'm downstairs. If you don't tell me, I'll wait here forever. The capital. Linda spoke gently but firmly. Ella didn't tell me to keep it from you, you would have found out sooner or later. But Finn, if you couldn't be a good boyfriend, at least be a decent ex. Finn's eyes turned red. What's a decent ex? Let her go. Let her start a new life. He fell silent for a long time. I can't. He couldn't imagine his life without Ella. Ella was like iced cola in summer, a scarf in winter. She seemed dispensable. But he'd grown so used to her presence. You could find replacements for almost anything. But he could never find another Ella. She'd been with him through every low point in his life. Linda thought for a long time before saying. It doesn't matter if you can't. Ella is getting married. Next week. Impossible. Finn blurted out. Ella would never marry someone else. All these years, Ella had revolved around him. Weddings required so much planning. Even if she'd moved on quickly, it couldn't be this fast. On the other end of the line, Linda suddenly laughed. Finn, you weren't this confident before. With that, she hung up, unwilling to get involved in their messy relationship any longer. After all, he'd made his bed. Now he had to lie in it. Without thinking, Finn went home to pack his bags. Lila was still there. Seeing him packing, she smiled. Finn, you don't need to pack. I can move in with you. This place is bigger, and the appliances are nicer. Ella had always cared about quality of life. Once they'd had money, she'd filled the house with nice things. Most chores didn't even require lifting a finger. What are you talking about? Finn frowned. This is Ella's and my home. If you move in, she'll only be more upset. By the way, when we went on those business trips, did you forget to submit your hotel receipts? Lila's heart skipped a beat. I don't think so. I'll check when I go back to work the day after tomorrow. Finn nodded, saying no more. Grabbing his packed bags, he headed for the door. Before leaving, he looked at Lila. What are you waiting for? Lila was furious but didn't dare show it. Are you going on another business trip? I'll go with you. No need. Then where are you going? Lila couldn't contain her curiosity. Are you going to find her? Finn, have you forgotten the promises you made to me? Did you really fall in love with someone else? Chapter 13. In the days after returning home, my mom barely left my side, except when I was sleeping. She helped me go over every detail of the wedding, determined to make sure I was happy. As she put it, a wedding only happened once in a lifetime. It had to be perfect. One day, Uncle Mark, Aunt Clara, and Ethan came to the house. They brought countless expensive gifts. Aunt Clara slipped a jade bracelet onto my wrist, smiling. I can't wait for you to marry into the family and keep Ethan in line. That boy is so serious all the time, no sense of humor. Feeling my face grow warm, I glanced at Ethan instinctively. As expected, he looked as indifferent as ever, like this had nothing to do with him. I squeezed my hands, feeling embarrassed. Aunt Clara, Mr. Quinhey. The title slipped out before I could stop it. Everyone turned to look at me. Even Ethan. His expression was unreadable, a faint smile playing on his lips. Ms. Carter certainly takes this alliance seriously. You silly boy. Aunt Clara slapped him lightly on the back of the head. Ella's just shy. If you don't know what to say, don't say anything. My face grew even hotter. I'd never been so embarrassed. Thankfully, the maid soon called us to dinner. In King City, I'd had to pretend to be confident and charming at business dinners, smiling and flattering others. At home, I only needed to focus on eating. Ethan was the same, quietly eating his meal. When my mom found out about my bad stomach, she'd taken me to see a traditional Chinese doctor yesterday. I'd gotten medicine and several recipes for nourishing soups. For the past 2 days, I'd had to drink the soup before every meal. After dinner, Aunt Clara and the others stayed for tea before getting ready to leave. Right before getting in the car, Aunt Clara looked at me. It's still early. Do you have any plans, Ella? Let Ethan take you out, go do something young people like. I hesitated. I'm free, but it depends on whether Ethan has time. He has time. And if he doesn't, he will. After giving Ethan a stern look, Aunt Clara got in the car and drove away. Ethan was left standing in our courtyard. His dark eyes looked at me, his lips parting slightly. Shall we go out? Sure. Since we were going to spend the rest of our lives together, getting to know each other sooner rather than later was a good thing. I went back inside to get my car keys, then drove out with him. As night fell, the capital's skyline lit up, stunningly beautiful. The colorful lights softened Ethan's sharp features, making him look less intimidating. The atmosphere felt surprisingly peaceful. Ella, he suddenly said, pausing as if choosing his words carefully. You really don't remember me? There was a hint of something, almost longing, in his cool voice. I stepped on the brakes at a red light, thinking. Maybe we met at family gatherings when we were kids. I apologized. But I have a bad memory. I'm sorry. Not sure what I'd said wrong, Ethan fell silent. After asking for his opinion, I drove to a square where locals liked to relax after dinner. It was lively, filled with the sounds of children laughing and elderly people chatting. In King City's autumn, I'd rarely felt such warmth and liveliness. We walked side by side. A little boy suddenly ran toward me, and Ethan quickly pulled me into his arms, steadying the boy with his other hand. His fingers were cold, but his arms were warm. The boy's mother rushed over, apologizing repeatedly. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Did this little rascal bump into your wife? My face grew hot again. Ethan smiled faintly. It's fine. He didn't hurt my wife. He was a born and raised local, but didn't have a strong local accent. His voice was clear and pleasant. After the mother and son left, I looked up at him. Thank you. Not calling me Mr. Quinn anymore? I felt a little awkward. Aunt Clara calls you Ethan. Can I call you that too? He didn't look entirely satisfied, raising an eyebrow slightly. For now. What do you mean for now? Before I could finish, my phone rang in my coat pocket. It was an unknown number. Frowning, I answered. Hello, who is this? Ella, it's me. I recognized the voice instantly, no need for an introduction. Taking a silent breath, I said. What do you want? I want to EU. I'm not in King City anymore. I looked at the tall man beside me, deciding not to hide it. Finn, we shouldn't see each other again. I know. Finn ignored my last sentence, his voice insistent. I just arrived in the capital. Ella, there's a misunderstanding between us. We need to talk in person. There's nothing left to say. Don't call me again. I'd never been one to hesitate. When I'd chosen Finn, I hadn't wavered, even when my family had opposed it. Now that I'd chosen to come back, I wouldn't look back. If that was the case, there was no point in seeing him. Misunderstandings or not, it didn't matter anymore. But Finn was unreasonable. If you don't see me, I'll stay in the capital forever. Chapter 14. Suit yourself. After hanging up, I saw Ethan suddenly holding out a stick of rock sugar hawthorn. It had been my favorite snack in middle school. Every day after school, I'd buy one and eat it happily on my way home. Over the years, I'd tried so hard to be an adult that I'd stopped buying things like this. No one had bought it for me either. thanking him, I was about to take a bite when Ethan said gently, "Hawthorn is sour. Your stomach isn't good, just a few bites to satisfy your craving, okay?" I looked at him in surprise. "How did you know my stomach is bad?" Even my mom had only found out yesterday. Ethan's voice was calm. "The nourishing soup you drank, all the ingredients are for." I was shocked. At dinner, he'd seemed to be focusing only on his food. I never thought he'd noticed something like that. Taking a bite of the hawthorn, I said. "You're very observant." "Just decent." Ethan nodded, not being modest. I was worried he'd ask about the phone call, but he didn't mention it once, even when he dropped me off at home later. It wasn't that I was afraid. I just didn't know how to explain. We barely knew each other, and talking about my ex so soon felt like planting a mine in our future marriage. The next day, for the first time since coming home, I didn't get to sleep in. My mom pulled me out of bed. "Sweetie, no more sleeping. You have to go for your makeup trial today, we can't put it off any longer." "Mom, I'm so tired." Since coming home, I'd been so relaxed, and it was autumn. I could sleep all day. Mom resorted to her trump card. "Don't you want to look beautiful at your wedding?" This makeup artist was so hard to book, Aunt Clara pulled so many strings. She didn't even have any openings. Well, I do want that. I woke up a little, getting out of bed to wash up. The makeup trial was more complicated than I'd imagined. For the wedding, my mom and Aunt Clara had picked out 6 dresses, including the wedding gown, which meant 6 different makeup looks. No wonder my mom had insisted on waking me up, we couldn't finish it all in one day otherwise. Midway through, my mom got a call from Aunt Clara. There was a problem with the wedding favors, and they needed to sort it out together. By the time I finished the last makeup look, it was already dark. Pulling my coat tighter around me, I was about to get in the car when I heard a voice from behind. "Ella." It was too familiar. But I felt absolutely nothing. If I had to describe it, only reluctance. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more wonderful stories. See you next time.